Welcome to the Never Been Promoted podcast and YouTube channel. I'm on a mission to help you cut the time to all the things that are holding you back so you can unleash your entrepreneur. Hey, welcome to Never Been Promoted. I'm your host, Thomas Helfrich. Live again today, we are going to have a cool conversation with the smooth and cool as a cucumber, Andy Crestodina. I'm not even sure the perfect way to say his name, but I just like to say it, Crestodina. Say it to yourself out loud. Is that the same thing? Crestodina. Crestodina. Hey, listen, he has built an amazing agency. If you're a marketer listening to this, listen to this. $8 million in revenue, never bought an ad. Let me say that again. $8 million, that's not pesos, that's not rupees, that's $8 million US dollars in revenue. No ads. We're going to talk about how he did that, his journey, why he chose to do it that way, the lazy way, building really good products and services and making people love you. How boring. Let's just add our way to it, right? No, we're going to talk about how we did that. Our mission, to be clear, if you've been here before, you know it, and you can just check out briefly, go get your coffee in the next 20 seconds. If you haven't, listen up. We're here to help you get better at entrepreneurship, help you cut that tie to all the shit holding you back in your life. Those are fears and those are excuses. And right in the middle of that little cycle of things that chase each other, fear, excuse, is you. So you may have to, learn how to cut a tie to a former self and learn how to move forward. And so you can truly unleash yourself, unleash your entrepreneur within and get super effective in life. One shameless plug from us, youtube.com/@neverbeenpromoted. Please give a subscribe. And if you like the podcast because you're a listener, do a nice review. It'd be great. All right. Enough shameless plugs. It's time to plug somebody else. Andy, welcome to the stage. How are you?
I'm good, Thomas. I'm good. Been looking forward to this. This will be fun. Yeah.
Me as well. I mean, listen, thank you for joining, by the way. I know you're busy, especially today. And so people don't know this, I'm going to let you do this. It's not a spoiler alert. Every year, this is a big day. What is going on in Andy's world today?
We have been publishing original research as part of our content strategy going way back many years. Today, we just dropped the 11th annual results and insights and trends from our blogger survey. Every year, we get 1,000 bloggers to answer like 20 some questions. And it's really interesting to see what's working and what's not, the correlation between various tactics and formats and channels with performance. So just went live. So busy day for me here.
Do you ever look at the original one compared to the first one do you show a trend over the 11 years as well as part of that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can see how long it takes to write a blog post. 77% more time than it did 11 years ago. How long is the typical blog post? Which channels are working how well? Like you can actually, the pre-AI era, you go back to like the pre-video era, you can see when video blew up, how influencer marketing got really big and then declined. The trends are fascinating.
Yeah. Influencer marketing did get big. And then people are like, there's a lot of bullshit here. They went down, specific on LinkedIn. I think that's amazing you do that. And I think this will be really cool because 11 years ago, which means you've been in the game a little bit. Do you, first of all, set up your company, what the name is, what it does, and jump back to the beginning. Jump back to how you got into this whole marketing game. Because we're going to cover how you do $8 million here in revenue without an ad. That's amazing.
Yeah, sure. Orbit Media Studios, web development and website optimization company. Started in 2001. It was just me and my buddy. Today, we are a 55-person, award-winning digital firm. 100% of the work is done in-house. So it's a big in-house team. And one of the coolest things I think is that just there's so many people here with such long tenures. I've got someone, she's a developer, 20 years we're celebrating this year. And I have 5 people this year who are hitting their 10-year anniversaries. There's a lot of long tenures here, and that is just amazing to me to be part of so many of these stories. But yep, we're a digital agency that is narrowly focused on the site, the website, the foundation, the platform. So there's tons of stuff we don't do. We're just all about the web development and optimizing that website.
I'm going to take that and jokingly say, put a pin in that, of that you only focus on a few things really well.
Yeah.
just because, in my other company that we verify agencies, and what you just described is a reason why you're successful, and a reason why a lot of other agencies fail is because they aren't great in one or two maybe things. So we're gonna back into that and the reasons why behind it. But how did you even get into marketing exactly?
Well, I'm solid Gen X. So when I was in college, there weren't classes in anything digital. Graduated. My buddy and roommate from college and friend from high school right away started building sites. He had an art degree. And so he's been doing web since like mid 90s. I got a foreign language degree and traveled and was going to be a teacher and came back and decided not to be a teacher and got a job and then quit the day job, and with really almost no security. It was a giant leap of faith, but not much to lose, when you're kind of in your 20s. So joined him, started a little company, had a partner that didn't work out, dissolved that company, started again with just the two of us. And that was April 2001, and never looked back. I mean, I wanted to do something that combined art and science, use both halves of my brain, the creative and the technical at once. And so it felt like a great fit for me. And weirdly, I could never have gotten a job for that because I had no portfolio. Who would hire me as a web designer? I did no real background in that. But discovered all at once that it's easier to start a company than to find a job, which is a strange way to say.
Really good point. If you are struggling to find a job, go create your own. Find something you love to do, and then because you have space, you have time. Usually, it's uncomfortable, right? And especially nowadays, where it's like this pressure in school, and especially with student loan debt or whatever else. But I would say, retool to something you love to go do, and just start selling that service. Because the worst you'll do is have it as a side hustle, or you'll learn something you absolutely hate. So,
yeah. If you want to make a difference in a brand, one way is to get hired by that brand. Another is to just be helpful however you can. The company that hires a vendor or partner is not taking a smallish chance, right? The company that hires a full-timer is taking a much bigger chance. You're onboarding and training and you got benefits. So anyway, I know it's not for everyone. As soon as you start a company, you kind of have a sales job. But if you were looking for a job already, you kind of had a sales job. I meet a lot of fractional CMOs, or I meet CMOs who are like, yeah, I was fractional here for a time and now I'm on board. What were they doing? They segued from a part-time gig into a full-time gig. Very common.
Yeah, it is. And you've been in it a long time. So 2001, though it doesn't sound long ago, it is 23 years ago. And it's like,
it's starting to sound long ago.
It's like, well, my man boobs have gotten bigger since then, but whatever. We won't talk about that. That's not part of the show today, though I just introduced it. Now we can talk about it. See? Well, okay. So by the way, congratulations for 11th year. Every year, you have 1,000 bloggers, in the space. Are people lining up at the door to be part of this? To say, I want to give my input. So it's still marketing to do it.
That is by far the hardest part. Surveys are tough content formats because you got to promote them twice. Once to get people to take the survey, and then once to promote the survey after it's live. So it is a slog. There may be a few listeners here who were part of it. Thank you to everyone who took the 3 minutes to answer those questions. Very grateful for the input. I do a lot of, it's the one time of year I do actual outreach. It's not at all like a pitch outreach. It's just like, do you have time to take a survey? And some of the feedback is like, yeah, I took it, no problem. But no wonder it's hard for you to get responses. You're not offering any value. People do it out of the goodness of their hearts, and I'm grateful. But yeah, it's
if you offer
email,
value,
social,
skew your results too. So if you're people tend to be more positive and they think they're going to get something.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to give you anything. I want you to, you get access to the data. How about that?
The same as everyone. I'm amazed that people do it. I take people's surveys. If someone out there's got a survey and they need a respondent, I'm right here. Happy to share.
Careful what you wish for in that one. You may have just wrecked your inbox. All right, so let's dive into your agency work. And the first piece of this is the headline, right? 8 million in revenue a year. So what happens in a lot of people who aren't in an agency, or if you are in an agency and you're just starting, you're going to realize this. You're going to cap out, and it seems to be around 20 to 25 customers, depends on what you do. If you're a solopreneur, maybe small team, you can't go past it. I've not seen a lot of agencies do that. And they get capped in that 300,000 to about $1 million revenue based on what they're doing and how they set it up. If they're running ads and they're getting a percentage of revenue, then they're going to be more. If they're building websites, you're going to be in the lower 100Ks maybe, right? But you've taken that and passed the $1 million, $8 million, and you've grown beyond it. Just set up how did that happen? Because that's a hard thing to do as an agency, because there's a tipping point where you got to hire people and that just puckers you up like, oh gosh, I got W-2s. Tell me what the tipping point was where you felt maybe initially comfortable to do that. And we're going to back in then how you built the company. But I want to hear about that specific moment maybe.
Well, there are lots of moments of self-reflection and self-awareness. You have to accept your limitations. You need to get lots of help. You're trying to build systems. So like a lot of firms, there's two founders here, a hacker and a hustler, they used to say. One person is like the super resourceful problem solver, and that's my co-founder Barrett, and he can fix anything and solve any problem. He's amazing on the delivery side. And so my job was to be the hustler and to kind of grow the business by increasing awareness and staying visible and connecting with the community. So that worked, and it got us to just over 2 million. And it was exhausting. It was not sustainable. I was writing proposals all night and talking to clients all day and trying to go to enough meetings and face-to-face and just meet with people. So there was a time when we realized that we needed professional management. We needed a CEO. So we added another partner, my co-founder, Todd Gettelfinger. So it became me, Barrett, and Todd at that point. There's another chapter in there that I'm kind of skipping over, but basically the takeaway is find people who are better at doing those critical business functions than you are or that you ever will be. And that was Todd. So by adding a CEO, it gave me an extra like 20 hours a week. What do I do at that time? Double down on content marketing. And he restructured the company. He built a layer of managers. He had everything, all the things. I mean, that's a million things. That is a tough job. And I don't know why founders assume that they're the best person to be the CEO. That's frequently not the case. I'm not that person. Don't want that job. I'm bad at that job. So
wait, what's your job? What's your best use of time?
I am you call it like the visible expert. I'm just the content marketer. My job is to make this place, make people know about us, to be present, to be helpful, to just kiss babies and shake hands. They say in another world. Just so I give presentations, I speak at conferences, I make videos, I write articles, I connect with communities. I am the chief marketing officer technically, but Amanda takes care of a ton of the event promotion and production and editing. So we have our own annual conference. I just wrote a book. The 7th edition of the book just came out today. I haven't promoted it hardly at all.
Wait, what's the name of it again? I didn't quite see it there in frame.
I wrote this book, Content Chemistry, which was basically all of our best content put together, and then wrote it again, and then wrote it again, and kept updating it. The new version,
like in a chemistry idea, does it give you like the formula for that type of content, or?
No, that's just a metaphor. But it is the visual handbook for content marketing, and it is packed with charts and diagrams and layouts and wireframes for all the key pages. The new version is all updated for GA4 and AI. So now each section of the book has the AI prompts to help you do that method.
Yes, please. I'll order one. We'll put a link in for that one later.
Just today, it's on Amazon, but it's actually not even. I'll promote it later. My main job is to keep us connected with people who might need what we do one day.
Oh, that was fast here. Can we find it online? Someone just commented in. You know what? Take a moment, grab the link here while I ask maybe a question, and we'll drop it in comments.
That way it's there. It is in the chat. Yep.
There you go. Perfect.
It's online.
Fine, we're going to drop that right now. I know I'm going to get it because I'm a glutton for reading. Is that the right word? Glutton?
It is it's not like a read straight through book. It's like a reference guide. And people send me pictures of their copy, which is like beat up and dog-eared and been sitting on their desk for years. It's the illustrated handbook for content marketing. So it's 100% practical. Every chapter is exactly how to do email and social. And it basically skews toward B2B, but it's about driving traffic and converting visitors into leads.
And this has been core to you guys building the business you have. You've put the right people in structure. You had the right processes in place. Mm-hmm. You didn't ignore them by getting the right person who could take process plus people and then do something with that. And a big part about being a CEO is holding someone accountable. And so you had the right person to find accountability, even to you and your other partner, which is probably really annoying at times. You're like, he's just doing his job. It's like, God, leave me alone. For me in my role, I know personally, I would love to have someone run the company and the business and operations. I'm the show up to meeting guy. Like, I'm the guy that shows up with a cut tie and talks to people. But definitely get the book. It's on Amazon, Content Chemistry, the 7th illustrated edition. And so we just put that out there. Now, in building the company, tell me about your first, maybe the first, let's go to the first customer that found you through content.
Well, going back, I mean, I've done SEO since the early days. And so SEO is very different in 2001 and 2002. So literally, the thing that we do would be to put a link at the bottom of the sites that we built saying website designed by Orbit Media. And those links, whether or not they were clicked, they improved our search rankings for phrases like Chicago web design. And people found us when we began to rank for phrases like Chicago web design. This is pre-content marketing. The content marketing really didn't show up as a unified combined tactic with email and search and social and blogging and influencers until maybe 2007 or 8. So we were actually attracting clients through just straight SEO pre-blogging. So this was, and the internet was weird back then. Search results were different back then. So yeah, we started as an outsourced partner to advertising agencies, but we knew we'd never control our destiny if we were just like this sort of like, vendor. And instead, gradually built up our own client roster, and people were contacting us. And it was like an amazing moment. I'm like, wow, this is like a new lead. Like this person's contacting us directly. There's no agency in between me and this company.
That's a nice feeling too. It's to kind of take it to modern day, right? As you add new service lines in a business, like one of ours, we've never really ran ads. We've tried it, but I would say it's never been a strategy. We've thrown things out there and frankly just wasted money. But we did it, we've done it. And now I'm like, I actually hired an agency to do meta for us because I got in there. I'm like, nope, no, way too confusing. No idea what I'm doing here. We ran a few ads, and then during the strategy session, they said, what would be a good measure of success? And I said, when I have my first customer, I have no idea who it is. I've never spoken to them. They've paid, they've gone through the whole thing. And they've done a nice review, and I've never met them. That would be a sign of success that your program is working, because we're just going to go repeat whatever that was. And you most of the time you meet the services-based businesses and what we're in. You're a part of it, and I doubt there's very many customers you don't know, or like you've not met, not touched, not had some kind of interaction with. Is that the case for you still? That you pretty much still at least get a minute or two of their time, or know of them?
We have lots of clients I don't really know anymore.
Wow,
that's okay. But I am still passionate. I'm like a service ethic guy. I grew up working in restaurants. I wish I was a little bit closer to many of these clients, honestly. My time is meant to be sort of unstructured. There's big chunks on my calendar that are open just to allow myself to be able to meet with whoever wants to chat. I do get heavily involved with clients in the sometimes in the upfront analysis prior to them even being a client, and then post launch, I'm frequently the one who kind of goes through with the clients and measures performance. We hold ourselves accountable to the data, and we're committed to our clients' growth. So I want to see the impact. But that too, also, I'm only maybe now like the third best analytics pro here at the company. There's Amanda's better at that than me, and Dan is better at that than me. I've done analytics for 24 years, and it's amazing to just watch that there's people around you that suddenly like you're learning more from them. So it's humbling.
You gotta have like a father moment. You're like, you go take
maybe
on the world.
good point, Thomas.
Grandpa's gonna go have a cigarette. I'll be back.
Maybe it is a father moment. I guess I never thought of it. Yep, you're right.
But it is. It's funny because you try to surround yourself with people that I truly mean this. I want someone. I look for partners, or I look for people to hire that are truly better at what they do than I can ever be. Where I'm like, I just want to say yes to what you're saying, and I want you to explain the why, just so I understand it. And if I can't understand it, still do it. I don't care. But that's a spot you got to get to. But there's a trust factor, and you don't build an $8 million a year company without some trust. From a cultural standpoint, and this is maybe to anybody building a business just in general, how have you kept people there 10, 20 years? I mean, are we talking like captive, or how do you keep it, keeping people entertained? How do you keep the culture right, as you've grown in the way you have?
Well, it's also, I mean, that's partly a function of having the same philosophy, which is to not be like a super controlling person. You can't build a team if you're micromanaging everybody. I mean, you just have to know that these people are absolute experts at their jobs. I was in a meeting this morning. It's like, yeah, we're considering, this change, this thing. There's two options, there's A and B. I'm like, you guys got this. I'm here to support whatever you think is the best way to do it. So people often ask me, like, should we do this or that? Hey, whatever you think, I trust you. You are the expert. I am on board. So it's I think that's a big part of it. I think people, though, to a large extent, just kind of keep, stay in a job if the work is dynamic and evolving always, and if they like who they're working with.
Yeah.
I mean, you just gotta fire assholes and support superstars, and anybody that needs help, be there for them, and just know that these are smart, capable people that are experts in their categories. Just give them what they need and step back, because there's I don't think people really want, not here at least. I mean, nobody wants to have someone sitting on their shoulder all the time.
That's the worst.
So I'm just honored that they're all hanging around and that I get to learn from them.
Well, yeah, and so when you built the agency, did you, as you guys have built it, you don't buy ads?
Mm-mm.
Conscious decision, or did it just kind of happen through the method of which you deliver services?
Well, I've heard a million stories, kind of like the one you dropped a minute ago. It's like, oh, we're just wasting money. Very hard now. So because we were getting traction already, I sort of, it became a blind spot for me. Honestly, I'm fascinated by it. I sort of wish I knew more about it. It's a gap in my content because I don't really talk about it, because I don't really know much about it. I see clients buying ads, and I know how to use the analytics to measure the performance of their paid traffic. And by the way, like, spoiler, like if you build, there's an exploration if you build it in GA4, and it shows you paid traffic per landing page from which type of device. I always find these clients who have mobile traffic from a certain ad to a certain landing page with a 0% conversion rate. Turn off that ad, please. I can save anybody, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in about 5 minutes by building this GA4 exploration that shows landing page performance from paid per device category. Please, check that report. It's criminal that Google doesn't make that.
Talk about a nugget. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, yeah.
Hence why I'm hiring someone to run it. Or change your landing page to be more mobile friendly and see why and where they bail.
Maybe, yeah, look at it, definitely. Or maybe the landing page, like the words that you clicked on in the ad should be on the page in the experience so that the person kind of knows they're in the right place. So the gap in my now, I mean, I understand website performance, so I can be useful on the paid ads topic, but I mostly evolved with a giant hole in a big blind spot to ads and never needed it. So I was able to just continue to invest in content and formats and channels where things were sort of working, and just evolved without it. I can't say like it was a strategy to like, oh, let's do organic instead. It was just how we evolved and how we keep growing.
Yeah, well, and you're describing something we talked about niching, right? So you stayed very tight to what were the two things? It was website development and performance and optimization.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is SEO fall into that for you guys as part of the optimization piece?
It sounds a bit different than what people expect. There are SEO companies that do on-site SEO and off-site SEO, but our approach is not strictly SEO, it's website optimization. There's the problem with SEO is that these people, they're all cheese and no mousetrap. They can drive traffic, but they don't even, like that report we just mentioned, they may not have any visibility or any awareness of the lack of conversions on that. What's far, far more, I mean, if you have a website optimization pro helping you, you're a full funnel marketer. SEOs are strictly about the click and traffic. Literally, that's what SEO means. It's about optimizing for search. That's discovery. That's the cheese. But website optimization is both search optimization and conversion optimization. That company is invested in your performance. They care about lead gen. They are a bottom line marketer. So it's a bit different. It's more strictly search. It's
important. I think people understand that when you're making the investment into website optimization, and we may have lost Andy here temporarily. He was having. Oh, he's coming.
Am I with you now? Yeah.
Your frozen face is not probably the one you would have chosen as part of but we're going to go with it. It looks like maybe you had 4 or 5 gummies and just realized it. That you had too many.
Perfect.
That's
no,
right now.
I was very worried about this because I've had an internet connection problem this morning. Hopefully it holds up for us.
It's back. It's like Slim Shady. It's back. Guess who's back? Back again.
And I was making such an awesome point too. We can move on.
Well, okay. So the idea is if you're going to invest in website and you don't invest in the optimization side of it, the idea that, hey, because we've had a website that's never been a source of revenue ever. It was hey, let's check these guys out. They check out because we focused on LinkedIn as the tip of spear of how we met people. So the website wasn't as needed, and SEO in particular wasn't needed because you cannot get any SEO credit with talking about LinkedIn because LinkedIn has got all that. Or at least I couldn't find it. So we didn't invest in it. But as we've shifted and we've pivoted our company, and this for anyone who's out there maybe just starting or just trying to figure it out, having the website built technically correct first. So it's fast, it loads, there's reduced errors, it's mobile friendly, and backing in then to a design that fits that within the content that drives what you're trying to accomplish with it is the way to build a site, not how do you want it to look?
Yeah.
In my opinion. So talk about that because I think people get it wrong. I know I've paid for 4 websites, and the first one that's actually shown traction and work, and showing up on Mox or SEMrush of being quality has been when I hired someone who took it technically first. So talk to me about building a site for optimization and the pitfalls that nearly everyone falls into. I think I may have led the witness there just a bit.
Yeah. I mean, if you drive traffic to a page or a site that has a 0% conversion rate, you won't see any performance. It's about attracting visitors who then take action. So the 2 numbers that matter are traffic and the conversion rate. What percentage of visitors who land on this URL take an action? Click on the call to action, complete the form. That's called conversion rate, and improving that is conversion rate optimization. Pages that convert tend to have a common structure. They answer questions, they address objections, and they supply evidence to support their claims. So it's not about making something beautiful per se, although we're all website critics. The page has to sort of understand the visitor's psychology. What are this person's information needs? Why wouldn't they take an action? What is our best evidence to support that claim? Here's like a game that I play with every site that I look at. People always ask me, can you review this? Go straight to the case studies, go to the 4th case study, scroll down to the 3rd page, and you're going to find an amazing quote or data point that should be at the top of the homepage. So many websites are just filled with unsupported marketing claims. They are piles of just assertions that with no evidence at all. So that's really the job of the page. Answer evidence, prioritize when the information needs of your buyer, call to action. That's the game. So yeah, doing search without that, it's all cheese, no mousetrap. So you have to pay attention to both those 2 elements or there's no performance at all.
So from like a brass tacks piece, right? So just get into it. You would literally say, hey, have you ever wondered whatever, a common question, something they may have searched for? Have you ever wondered how to grow your agency right? Or have you ever wondered how to get your dog not to pee on the carpet? Whatever it is. And then you answer that and say, here's Chuck, our customer, talking about that in the video. Is that the kind of idea?
Well, those examples you gave would be information intent queries. That person's just looking for an answer. And that stuff you go deep into on the blog, right? You've got a carpet cleaning company. You talk about dog pee. Great. That person is interested. That person has a question. But it's the sales pages, the service pages, the product pages that are designed to convert the visitor into a lead, right? So what does that person want? Carpet cleaning. Can you come during the day? How much is it going to cost me? What if I'm not home? Can you come right away? Like whatever the questions are, can you work on this kind of carpet? Can you fix these kind of stains? These are the questions that someone has before they become a lead. So there's 2 kinds of content, right? 2 kinds of pages, the informative, helpful, useful blog posts and videos. But then there's the money pages that have to sell. And those pages should be structured like a sales call with the top rep. If I call you and I might hire you, what questions would I likely ask? What are your best answers to those questions? What's the best evidence you have to support your answers? That's how to make a page that sells. That's the money page. So those are the most important part of the site. So I would fix those before you do any content marketing, before you make another video, before you teach people about, why dogs pee on carpets. Make the page that's supposed to sell, whatever that information need is, right? It's got the phone number and the answers. You addressed all their objections. You answered all their questions, and you gave them reasons to believe. Answer, evidence, call to action. That's how to generate leads.
I like that. We're gonna bundle that up and make a short out of it, Terry.
Do it. Everyone should do it. I recommend
I will
it.
tell you, it's funny. So this is what happens. Like our company, Instant Relevant, right? I do a really good job of verifying if you know what the hell you're talking about, like, and know what you can do. I know how to do that. It's consulting background, the processes we put in place, what the questions we ask. Don't know how to build a landing page that does that. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap of, I do something well and could probably do this okay, but okay does not work. Okay does not convert.
Yeah.
When you're a competitive situation.
Well, it's a fun time to be doing this because of AI. There are prompts that are like skills levelers, like they'll bring up a more junior person or a less expert person into more like pro level. So you really don't need 24 years of experience planning high converting websites anymore. I can give you a prompt that will audit your landing page against my best practices based on all that experience. It's really fun. That's the best use of AI, to audit those high stakes assets. And the prompt is like, these are very, very detailed prompts, but I've already published them. We could share the links to the articles.
Yeah, go, if you have a minute, put it out there. I'm sure we're going to pop up here in a minute. It says, hey, could you drop that?
Yeah.
And I'd want it too, because I think, and I think what I love about having you on the show is that you know the space so well that if you can, you have something ready to go, right? This says, hey, I can look at this and like, I don't need to charge you $10,000 assessment for this. That this is something we just do so we can get to the meat of getting you leads. I absolutely love this because this communicates why you've built an $8 million a year practice, because you have value add, and the value add's not selling this data. It's solving the solution of what the problem is. And I think when you're looking, when you're out there building your businesses, marketing or whatever, get to the point where you're actually solving the problem and give away all the other shit around it that helps them make the decision to buy. Yeah.
I mean, if you could do it yourself, awesome. I am happy I was a useful internet citizen today. I'm not hiding anything. I share all. Like a lot of content marketers, I mean, we're in a rush to share our best advice, to give away the most valuable things we know. Content marketing is a test of generosity, and the brand or person who gives away the most helpful, useful advice wins the most, likes and leads, love. That's the job, is to transfer as much of the most useful stuff in your brain onto the internet so that other people can get value from it as easily and quickly as possible in whatever the most, accessible formats you can publish in the busiest channels you can. If you don't, someone else will.
Yeah, well, and it's funny you said that, and we were talking a little off camera on this, but it was forever my LinkedIn's been more of a sales front engine for Instantly Relevant, using that to sell, and it's always kind of bugged me because it's like, it's just not my personality to be so salesy. I sell well because I explain things well typically, but I'm not like buy. I'm not like that, right? And so the recent decision to move it to, well, what people want is they want to promote their brand, they want to get known, they want to be seen, they want to learn about entrepreneurship. And it never occurred to me that could just be the initial top of funnel for the rest of what we do, and making sure that the website supports these things, and moving that to what you just described of, well, I just want to give and help people do better, and truly, go for another step deeper in helping entrepreneurs by even committing my entire LinkedIn or social media channels to helping, and let the sales thing happen downstream. A lot of people listening are in that spot. They're scared to do that because they'll feel like they'll have a dip in revenue. And you might have an initial dip whilst your new brand takes footing. But I don't think you get to a level where you're describing right now without doing that, because you don't have no multiplier in your content or your carryability of someone else talking about your brand otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, if you work backwards from, I'm getting leads from organic channels every day, from word of mouth, referrals, and organic traffic channels, organic leads every day. What are all the steps you have to take to get to that point? Some of these steps are going to be, you were unloading as much value as you could, which captured the attention of some other editors and bloggers, and they mentioned you in their content, and the links from their site to yours improved your rankings for the money phrase, website optimization or paid social strategy or whatever the thing you do. You'll never get that unless you have a really active and detailed, in-depth, highly valuable content program relationships with other people who also create content, in-depth insights and all the channels. That's how your content becomes visible. Visible content attracts links. Links drive your rankings for those commercial intent key phrases, which attract visitors who trust what you do because you built a page that answers questions, addresses objections, and supplies evidence. That's how you just construct a system that produces organic leads every day. You can't do that. There aren't any that don't have either a huge paid ad budget or content. Famous quote from Guy Kawasaki. He said, if you have more budget than brains, do outbound advertising. If you have more brains than budget, do inbound, as in content marketing. So you need one or the other. You can't do it without.
If you have tons of brains and tons of money, you're going to freaking crush it. You're going to do
That's
both.
right.
And if you can use ads to drive to, so one of the strategies, right? You use ads to go to what would be normally SEO free content. So an SEO page that's giving value, and you're like, it's like, wow, wait, I landed on something to help me. It's supposed to help me.
I'm sure that works. I've never done that either, though. We don't use ads to drive attention to content marketing. That shows up in the survey as an effective strategy, and that most bloggers don't use, is to combine with paid to create visibility for the highest converting.
Yeah, most can't do both. I know we've used it for very specific things like finding guests and things like that we have used ads and say, hey, this helps you, this has benefited you, check it out. Like, probably the path that you and I got connected was part of that, right? We've used paid ads to see how that would work. I think one of them is me simply, I don't have it, I just literally write something on a Post-it and I hold it up in front of the camera, and that's the ad. Get SEO agencies, please.
Nice.
And that's it. I mean, because here's my ad creative budget is our three color notepads right there. Because it works. I mean, why not?
I get it. I'm not surprised. I love it. That's great.
It also defines my audience very quickly.
Nice work, Thomas.
Marketing agencies only, please. The point being is be simple with it, be fun, and then you got to have content that backs it up. I think one of the problems I know I personally have gone through, so I'm comfortable saying this, is one of the reasons I never wrote blogs is, especially when you're kind of first starting, you're in the imposter syndrome mode, which is, I think, a good thing. It gets you out of your comfort zone. You feel like you don't belong because you don't know what you're quite doing yet, but that means you're pushing yourself. But it also means you have no authority to really write on anything, and you don't. And so you don't because you're afraid of kind of being found out, or what am I saying? AI made that possible for lots of people, and it became very clear when people are just kind of regurgitating all there. But that's a problem. So I think maybe you've gone through that yourself when you've gone to a new area. But you said I've stayed away from ad content, PPC, because you don't know it, and I agree you should because you don't know it.
Right.
Have you ever felt that or ran into people who've been least open and honest? Because I know I have. Been like, I don't write on certain topics because I don't know shit about it. In reality, though, we were doing the service when we first started. Yeah,
I mean, I guess in the early days, I really had just not much of even a point of view on a lot of these topics, but
excuse me.
I mean, if you're starting a business, you should have a perspective on something. I mean, you have some expertise, I would hope. I mean, no matter who you are, what you're doing, if you're in an industry, if you're a professional in a category, you are more expert than 95% of the people who buy that service because they're buying it because they're not in your category, right? So hopefully there's some vertical expertise of this person somewhere, and they have some tip, some helpful advice, some point of view. And I think partly what where I feel imposter syndrome myself is like when you have it's hard to take a stand on a topic where you're not really sure about it. Like, is this really, should I really be making these assertions? What if I'm wrong? Is someone going to come out and I get a lot of comments and a lot of feedback, especially YouTube. It's brutal. If you're on YouTube,
not as brutal as meta ads. Holy shit. I've never met so many angry people. Like, get the fuck out of my feed, you can snake charmer. I'm like,
wow,
I'm gonna put you on my podcast for free and you clicked on my ad. I don't know what to do here. I don't even say, I mean, angry ass people, like, holy cow, if this was on LinkedIn, you'd be killed. YouTube, at least, it's like people can't get a hold of you in a DM, at least on that one.
Right,
you can just put a comment. But
yeah.
I think Meta might be the worst for the angriest people on the planet.
That is hard for anyone, and I get it. I think that there's, the trolls go to the places where they can stay anonymous. I mean, sunlight's the best
Their names
disinfectant.
all over. I just don't even get it. I know. We'll leave it at that.
Their
But
name, wow. I can't imagine. I'm not even on Facebook. I'm sure it's a lovely place to hang out, but I left that long ago.
it's new to me. I have an account, but I see why I stayed away from it. Anyway, sorry, I digressed. I was just like, man, the Meta is the worst place on the planet. YouTube, you get your own comments and other things, but man, some big trolls, like hairy, nasty trolls, extra knuckles and stuff, like just dragging. Horrible.
Yeah, I posted a video. This is me making assertions. Actually, this is an excellent content strategy: is to make assertions on relatively mundane topics where we're not talking like geopolitics and social justice.
Give me an example of a mundane.
Yeah.
Snickers
I made a
is the
video.
worst candy bar on the planet.
Yeah, like that. Like cream doesn't belong in coffee. I made a video that said like these are things you should remove from your website, including PDFs. That's like the rust of the internet. Why did you put a PDF there? You should have just made it a web page, like you did it for you can't log into your CMS. Or press releases. Press releases aren't digital content best practices for immediate release. What does that mean? The little crappy about thing at the bottom. Why don't you just write the article that you hoped would have been written when they saw the press release? The third, I said, remove the dates from your blog because it just makes your content look older faster. If you want to put the date in, put it in the headline, but don't make your template have the date. It just ages your content. Angry. I have 700. I mean, it was partly a YouTube video. I have like 700 angry comments, and they are
what was
torching me.
The indignation was strongly focused on.
I hate blog, all caps. I hate blogs without dates. You are sleazy and untrustworthy. Nice work, dude. You just told people to make low value, worthless websites. Why don't you let somebody else with some experience, listen, dates on blogs, I'm not really I'm not invested in that one. It's not like I'm married, I've got kids, I've got this is not going to hurt my feelings. So I think if you can, and I have a prompt for this one too, if you can find that mundane but very provocative topic that your target audience might get triggered by and want to talk about, as an exercise in a conference or a workshop, I made we're targeting office managers. What triggers office managers? Open floor plans. Everybody's got an opinion. The thermostat. So pick something that's kind of like mundane, but that will start a conversation.
It's still on brand, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're targeting as office managers, maybe that's
like something. You wouldn't do that if you're selling grapes.
In that example, it was for like office coffee delivery company.
Yeah,
and we want to get the attention of office managers. What will work in social channels?
You're describing safe, polarizing topics, but you said sometimes you don't I don't really know which side of the aisle I fit on this, but I'll take one just for the purposes of attention. But the truth is, you probably do favor I don't think you should have blogs, and here's why. And it's hard to write an article otherwise. Would this be a good GPT prompt too? And what are some mundane website ideas that you could take up? Do you have another prompt to share on that one?
Yeah. It's my article about AI and thought leadership. It's like I believe that AI cannot write strong opinion because AI has no opinions. AI has no experience. AI has no background or stories. AI doesn't care about anything. So the other point, which sometimes I come at this topic from the other direction, people ask me what to do with AI. I say, don't do this with AI. Don't do that with AI. These are partly just me, with strong opinions again, but it's differentiated content because these provocative topics, AI can help you find 11 provocative topics. 9 of them you don't care about at all. You pick one and then you go into that topic and it's going to trigger conversation. Conversation triggers algorithms. Algorithms show it to exponentially greater numbers of people. So yeah, it's these AI prompts for thought leadership are in an article. We could share it. I'll find it. But it's like, what are the counter narratives in my industry that thought leaders are not talking about? What does my audience believe is true but is actually false? Or what topics are what are the mundane but provocative topics that audience X has strong opinions about? What does my audience secretly believe but that others think are untrue? Any one of these prompts will give you a bunch of kind of thought leadership-y sort of ideas. You could pick one, just put a point of view out there, or ask a bunch of people what they think and then publish the data. These are highly differentiated things that AI can't write that article. It just can't do it. It doesn't believe anything. Only you believe you are far better than AI for this one thing. there's two topics that will always work, regardless of what happens with AI: new original research and strong opinion. Those will forever be the things that get traction, even in the AI era.
Here's a fun prompt. Say, take the persona of your favorite presidential candidate, Trump or Harris, and say you are now writing as if you were responding based on what you've read and the perception of the other party's perception of that person's response. It'll get that. And say, now go take a stance on a mundane topic. That's a fun reply back, just so you know. That's a fun one to go do.
I can imagine.
What it does, from a creative thing, if your audience, let's say, was Trump fans, whatever it is, and you write in a style that's very similar, it actually will work to get them to like that kind of yeah, and the same way the other way, yeah. I like it how they do it that way. Anyway, it's a stylistic piece that it'll copy from a memeing, if you will, and so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that's a common use for AI, is to polish or tweak the style, and I think that it's like I think that's useful and can be successful because it's sort of after you've done, you've applied your own thinking, you've written the first draft.
Exactly. After you put your own point of views in. Exactly. Now, you could differently. You could say, hey, take the Alex Hormozi's approach or Gary Vee's more type of tonality with this. The point being is, I was giving you probably the two basic extremes we can relate to nowadays. Is that you can use that to refine tonality to appeal to an audience who may already like Alex Hormozi, Gary Vee, or a candidate, or whatever it is. But the point is, use AI after you've declared a position. Very good.
Yeah, I'm on record saying, writing is actually the least interesting use case for AI.
Strategy thinking, I like that one.
That's a great one. Data analysis, ideation, research. Build a synthetic member of your audience. Use AI to create a persona, an artificial persona. Give it all the data about your buyer, and then just talk to it. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
what do you think of this landing page? Yeah.
It's a fantastic, and then direct it to where you're trying to send them and say, what are they going to think about this? What questions did we miss? Blazing, wearing, what variations should we do?
Exactly. Gap analysis. Here's my soundbite. It's like, I don't care about using AI to find efficiencies. I use AI to find deficiencies. What is this thing missing? Persona-driven AI gap analysis? Amazing.
We may have another internet challenge. I think we were talking too much about candidates just for example, and they killed my internet. We can go with the conspiracy theory here. I'm not sure who's still there watching or if Andy will ever return to us. He may be an AI. We don't know. He's pretty efficient, really, really well thought out, dressed nicely too, which that's what concerns me the most. I'm hoping he can hear every word of this too. This is the best part because his internet has trashed him. He has been frozen once again, like he has. If you're listening, his image looks concerned. It looks concerned, like he ate what he thought was a vitamin gummy, and it was actually a very powerful THC-based gummy. His persona has now left the podcast because his internet has broken. So before he comes back here or jumps back in, some of the things Andy's talking about right now with taking a position on content writing, but the things I think, and I'm sure he'll agree when he gets back in here, you have to make sure that not only your point of view and your opinion, it should be strong, but it should be directed towards your brand, directed toward what you actually believe in, and also what it is you're ultimately selling. So having content for the sake of just eyeballs and views, that's great. If you're doing it with the idea, the intent that you're trying to influence someone to become a lead, that's way better. And I think you have to be very thoughtful and careful with that. And that's not something you typically will outsource to like technology. Let's get him back in here shortly. But if there's any comments or any questions, by the way, just drop them into the chat. I will tell you, what he's built here with this, with his agency is truly amazing. It's really hard to focus on two things like website optimization and build a multi-million-dollar business. And the way he's describing that, he's created a massive inbound effect through really good content, really good service, and smart processes and teams. If you're just starting, you're a smaller organization of any type, know that it starts with you. It starts with you as a founder. and you can't, do anything except right now be just yourself, but go build an organization as you build it step by step that has that high value, high integrity, and it does that. I want to be conscious of time too here a little bit as well, but Andy's a guest. I was super excited to have him here. I know he's super busy with this. This is 11th annual, his annual report. You can find it through his LinkedIn and get in touch with him. But I really want anyone who's listening, watching, who's out there trying to build a business to take to heart that you gotta have a very defined strategy. You need to do one or two things really, really well, and to just do all your content, all your personal brand, everything around getting great at that. I'm going to thank Andy. I know he had to drop off because his internet. Maybe they're 8 million. They forgot to pay the internet bill. That's my theory. I'm going to take a strong opinion that they did not pay their internet bill, and Comcast cut them off. That's what it was. Comcast cut them right off because he didn't pay. For everyone who's listening, watching today, I appreciate Andy coming on. We'll catch up with him. We'll put it back on. He said lots of good stuff. Get a hold of them. I'll do a shameless plug for them. They are really, honestly, Orbit Media is a kick-ass marketing agency. Getting to know them pretty well for website development and optimization of your site in all facets. Check them out at orbitmedia.com. Thank you once again, Andy, for jumping in. Here we go. Thanks for the question, Brian. I'm going to make sure Andy gets this one because I'd be guessing, for the best formats that will convey your message: blogs, videos, infographics, podcasts. It's a question that's come up. Buy-in, I would say that you probably need a mix of all of them. Depends on how you're using them and where you're using them. But I'll make sure that Andy gets that question, or reach out to him on LinkedIn as well, so you can make sure he answers it because he's the expert for sure in this space. Until we meet again, listen. Thank you so much for listening to the Never Been Promoted podcast. It's been a pleasure having everyone on and having the guests on today. And Andy, once we catch up, thanks again for getting in here. Get out there, go unleash your entrepreneur. Thank you so much for listening and watching today.